Folks pointed out that this commencement speech was very, very lucid, unusually lucid and direct and accessible. But it was not long before he killed himself. And listen to this. He says in the commencement address, "In the day-to-day trenches of adult life, there is actually no such thing as atheism. There is no such thing as not worshiping. Everybody worships. The only choice we get is what to worship. And the compelling reason for maybe choosing a spiritual God like Jesus Christ or Allah or Yahweh or the Wiccan mother goddess, he says the compelling reason for choosing that kind of God is that pretty much anything else you worship will eat you alive." And then he gives examples. If you worship money and things, if they are where you tap real meaning in life, then you will never have enough and you will never feel you have enough. If you worship your body and beauty and sexual allure and you do that, then you will always feel ugly. And when time and age start showing, you will die a million deaths before they finally grieve you. If you worship power, you will end up feeling weak and afraid. And you will need ever more and more power over others just to numb you to your own fear. If you worship your intellect, if that's what you live for being seen as smart, you will end up feeling stupid, a fraud, always on the verge of being found out. But the insidious thing about all these forms of worship is that they're unconscious. They are default settings. Now, I do not know enough about David Foster Wallace to speculate exactly on the relationship between what he said here to his suicide, though everybody says there's some kind of link. I think we can be confident to say that it was something that ate him alive. One of the things in this list, or maybe something he didn't list, ate him alive. And he says, unless you have a God who can deliver on the hopes that you put in these things, it's going to eat you alive. Now, if this is the case, and if he's right, by the way, on websites, especially atheist websites, I've seen so many atheists extremely put out by this commencement address. Because even though David Foster Wallace was essentially a secular person, he had no particular religious beliefs, I've seen many atheists say how upset they are that he would say that there are no such thing as atheists, that everybody worships, that everybody builds their life on something. And I've seen atheists very upset. He says, worship means coming and sitting down in a building and at a religious institution and observing religious services. It's ridiculous to call anything that you live for worship. And that shows exactly what he says. And that is the problem with the insidious thing about all these forms of worship is they're unconscious. And if you don't see them yet, you're very, very young. The older you get, the harder it is to hide from yourself that you have really bound your heart up with something, a kind of God, and you are betting your life on it, and you are investing so much in it. And only as you get older and older do you begin to realize what Cynthia Heimel says, and that is, even if I get it, I think I'm going to wake up and realize, is this all there is? Now, if this is true, and we all have these idols, and they can really eat us alive if we don't recognize them before it's too late, then what do you do? Well, first of all, you have to try to recognize what they are. How do we know what they are?